and gentlemen, welcome to yet again another episode of Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. Coming to you live from the cave with the fellas, Tuesday, July 5th. How's everybody doing, Pinky?
Worn out, my man.
I can second
It's been
that,
a
my guy.
long 4 or 5 days.
That long weekend, 4th of July, it always hits different. There's no doubt.
I drank way too much
I-
all weekend.
You say that, but, we love you, Pinky, but that seems like it's not out of the norm, if I will put it nicely.
There's levels. There's levels.
Yeah, we're gonna schedule an intervention now. Does like September work for you? Or
No.
oh yeah, it's
No, it
football
does
season.
not. That's
Oh, my
football
bad.
season. We're going to have to
Well,
wait on that.
Hold on. Most of the time, I drink on Tuesday nights, obviously, because I'm here.
Yeah, I mean,
And then I usually drink on the weekends.
sure.
Like, it's not every day during the week.
Well, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like, if you drink, you kind of go hard. It's not like you half-ass it.
I had a good Saturday because we did the UFC fights, and there was some good drinking at Andy's.
Unfortunately, they weren't great fights from what I hear.
The main event was highly disappointing.
Par for the course.
Adesanya has been he just doesn't have his killer instinct right now.
From what I heard, the best part of the whole night was Adesanya's entrance, and the rest of the night was kind of flat.
Well, the fight before Adesanya, which was Volkanovski and Holloway, and Volkanovski put on like a clinic and just beat that dude's face up for like 5 rounds. He actually cut him bad.
Stop there. It went 5 rounds. It fell flat. Unless both dudes are throwing bombs or somebody gets knocked the F out in the first round, it's flat.
Max Holloway's got a good chin, and these guys are like 145, so they don't have like super knockout power.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I get it, but the boxing clinic that was put on was pretty impressive. Now, again, the guy had a cut, like his eyebrow got cut straight down, that like they were putting a Q-tip like straight up in it.
You heard what you just said, though, right? The boxing clinic. So if I want that, I'll go watch a boxing match.
I don't
not
need
a UFC fight.
I don't need not every fight's going to end in a knockout, and I can appreciate the ones that don't. The fight before that, big ass dude who was supposed to win did leave his hands down, and he got straight knocked out cold. So it happened. There were still some good fights.
I'm not
before
saying
that.
I need everybody to get knocked out, but I'm just saying if it doesn't end in the first, or it's not just a back and forth brawl for 5 rounds, I just not am interested, is what it really comes down to. And then the other thing that I hate about the UFC is, honestly, 95% of the time, it feels like you get some dude who's just trying to take down and lay on a guy the whole time.
I do not like those guys.
So
I totally can agree with that statement.
I feel like the UFC has fallen off as far as the excitement of the fights, not necessarily the talent, but the excitement of the fights since your Anderson Silva's, your what's his name? Why am I drawing a blank on the guy? He came with Michael Bisping.
Yeah, Bisping wasn't the best guy
No,
to
but he
watch.
had good fights. And Forrest had great fights.
That's because
I was not a St. Pierre fan, but St. Pierre had good
No,
fights.
Pierre didn't have good fights.
Yes, he did.
Pierre's like Adesanya. He did what he needed to do to win.
No, Pierre usually ended guys in the first round or two. He didn't
did
have very
not.
many go to decision, dude.
He didn't. A lot of them went to decision. Go back
Later
and
in his
look.
career.
When he was champ, almost every fight he had went to decision. His early fights, I would agree with you.
That's
but
what I'm talking about, his early fights.
When he became champ, he literally went to decision almost every time.
So it's just not John Jones when he was at his peak. Shit, even Lesnar's fights were worth watching.
Well, you didn't know what was going to happen, so they were very entertaining.
That dude would brawl all 5 rounds if he had to, or somebody was getting knocked
2.
out, whether it was him or somebody else.
I don't think any of his fights went past 2 rounds.
You know what I mean, though? Like, he was going to give you everything for the whatever it was, and that just doesn't happen anymore.
He was, I'm going to bum rush you and throw everything I have at you. And if you make it out of the first round, you're probably going to beat me.
And what's great about him is he's a decorated wrestler that chose not to just try to lay on somebody. He wanted to fight. And that's what I respect about Lesnar. He wanted to fight. You don't get that very much anymore.
I will agree with you, Caleb, which again, we don't always see eye to eye.
Cheers, Pinky.
There
We're starting off
are-
early tonight.
There are a lot more fights recently, more of the known fighters that haven't looked great. Whereas in the guys on the prelim that are fighting to get their spot, the fights are really good. Those
That's why
prelim
Connor
fights.
was so great. Connor was going to give you a show, one way or the other. You don't have anybody like that right now. I feel like it's sad. SP, how you doing?
Good. And then just to let you know, so 12 out of his 28 fights went to decision.
You
That's
said
pretty
most.
amount.
That's
That's
actually
good.
not most.
Well, I mean, how many
That's kind of the opposite
over
of
the
most.
last couple of his career? Like,
That's a good question here. He had, the majority of his fights, like actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 out of 8 went to decision of his last fights.
And that's why I said towards the end of his career, they weren't great.
Once
But
he
when
was
he
champ.
first started, he was champ early in his career, Pinky.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't just like win the championship late in his career and then have some crappy fights and then retire. That dude was champ. He's the longest reigning champ still, isn't he?
no, Silva was. Silva had 12 straight wins as champ.
I'm not talking about wins. I'm talking about length of being the champ.
Pierre had 14 straight belt fights. So, yeah, he was blinging for a bit.
Yeah.
Dude was good, man.
He's good.
Yeah.
I just remember as he had held onto that belt, he did what he needed to do to win versus trying to knock a guy out.
There them eyes go again.
Yeah, I hear that. Well,
Lying to the people.
I mean, you kind of have to have that mentality though, because if you're not winning something, you're fighting to not lose.
yeah,
know?
you put yourself. Plus, if you start putting yourself in jeopardy of letting the judges decide, there's plenty of times where they'll give it to the other guy just because he tried to do something when you didn't.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree. End of his career, he definitely started trying to just hold on. But when he first started, man, he had fights.
But I'm with Joe Rogan. They need to change all the scoring systems. This is
Well,
just-
they're all trash.
this is outdated. It's
Boxing.
bad.
Well, the biggest issue is
UFC.
they have the fighting commission that generates what the scoring is and how the judges view it. But the judges don't even have to like show you their score. Like they don't have to show why they scored, how they scored. And there's a lot of things wrong. They also, the UFC right now is not, the only thing that they give you to make you fight is if you win fight of the night or knockout of the
The
night,
bonuses and stuff.
you get the bonus. Well, the young guys will fight for that. That's why most of those fights are halfway decent because they're trying to bang and win those extra payouts.
Sure.
Yeah, for Dana always claiming that he does right by his fighters, I've yet to see where that's really true, to be perfectly honest.
I
with
just
you.
remember-
the money they generate and the amount that their fighters actually get paid is not equivalent to each other.
I want to say it was whatever it was in Japan, K1 or Strike
Yeah.
Force, or
Yeah.
you got like docked pay if you didn't fight.
Dude, those fights, you go back and watch those fights, dear Lord.
Those were pretty intense.
Those were I don't know. They didn't seem to have many restrictions on who fought.
No, they didn't. You could kick a dude while he was falling right to the head.
You got Bob Sapp fighting some dude on crutches, and then like
Yeah, there was
Bob Sapp.
there was some brutal
That was
fights.
a big boy.
it was real
Like
big
the
boy.
all-time KO like lists all online, 90% of it is from those fights.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal. But so there was a lot of drinking that day. Did the Avalanche parade last week.
Yeah, that was cool.
So we
How
did-
was that? How
it
was that
was-
experience?
It was
Pinky?
really fun. We didn't bring enough alcohol, but because we ran out by about 11 o'clock. But it was a blast. We got a really good spot at the very end of the parade, so we saw everything come right at us. Once the parade was done, we went right in front of the Civic Center. We were about halfway in the crowd at the Civic Center.
How cool was it being part of all the small things being sung by the fans?
Oh man, we were having a blast,
I'm
dude.
sure.
We were having a blast. They started playing that, and I was like, yes, let's go.
I was bummed I couldn't go up with you guys and get that day off. That would have been a lot of fun.
It was epic. Thankfully, my manager at work is really awesome, and I had worked overtime the whole week, so she allowed me to use my overtime as my time off. And
my boss would have let me go. Just the kicker was we already had other people that had scheduled the vacation time, and I would have, if I had gone, we would have been short by quite a bit. So mean, he's like, like he could have kind of maybe, but I didn't want to. Like, I appreciate my team right now, so I didn't want to do that to him. But I said, when this happens again and there's a parade in Denver for one of our teams, I will not be missing that next one. It just won't happen.
It was great. The only thing that
hopefully we
sucked,
get 2 next year.
Yeah, for
maybe
sure.
3. There's an outside chance of 3.
Nuggets. Yeah.
Yep.
Nuggets could get there. It was there's about 500,000 people there. I didn't think there was that many, but just see everybody's faces. The people watching was really good. And I will say props to all the fools wearing jerseys because it was
seriously
hot.
It was like 95. I don't know how people were doing that.
Well, it's like 80, but it was muggy because it was going to rain in the afternoon.
Man.
And you could just see the sweat dropping down people's faces. And I was just like, nah, man, my t-shirt feels great. I'm
not wearing my sweater, so I'm good.
I did see on Facebook a company's doing like basketball jerseys for hockey teams. And I was like, I could wear that.
That's right up your alley.
Right up my alley, man. Anything to not have to wear like sleeves.
Best shirt I've seen in a very, very long time. Now, granted, this does not count the ones that we're going to be coming up with because ours are just amazing. But Nazem Kadri, did you see the t-shirt he was wearing for the parade? Too Many Men. Oh, classic, dude.
God, I hope we re-sign him.
There's no way. There's just no way. The only way we re-sign him is if he wants to take a massive discount to come back and go for a repeat.
He'd have to take a pretty good discount. He would.
Because what he can make on the open market right now is absurd.
He'll make 7-8
after the year he had, and then the playoff run that he had, he's going to get paid. So, and I wouldn't blame him if he took the money. He got us a cup, or he was part of getting us a cup, and he played his ass off last season, so he deserves it. But you want to come back and be all-time legacy and put your name in that hat, then you come back and take a cut.
In hockey, where the salaries aren't as much, I can't fault the guy for going and getting what he can get.
Not. But that shirt alone made him an all-time legend in Colorado lore, as far as I'm concerned. He already was with the way he came back, scored that overtime goal, and everything else that he did. But dude, I saw that shirt. Like, I was following the parade, all morning, and saw him walking out with that shirt on. I was like, oh, dude, this guy's like my favorite hockey player right now.
Favorite 2 parts of the parade. When we were Gabriel Landeskog's fire truck was coming by, and he was asking the crowd to throw him a beer. And the first one missed. Second one almost hit a girl in the head. And then the third one he was able to catch. And he just lifts it up and starts just downing it.
Yeah.
And I got it all on video. It was just awesome. And then when I got home later that day, I saw a video of Bo Byram. Yeah, so when they were a little bit further away, funny. They had players jumping in and on and off the fire trucks. Bo Byram, who had literally just turned 21 like weeks ago, who doesn't look like he's old enough to even play hockey, like had gone out to the crowd to say hi or whatever. And when he comes back, a bike cop is literally like, nah, man, get back over there. You can't be over here.
Didn't just say that. This bike cop came like flying down the line of fans to like grab him and say, get back over the fence. And all you hear in the video is all the fans going, he's a player. He's a player. And Byram's just sitting there like, I don't.
I've already drank 8 beers, sir. Like, can I not get back on?
And then when the cop finally realizes, he just kind of like runs away, like he doesn't want to get caught again, but like looking back over his shoulder, like, you dumbass, like, but I don't want to deal with you anymore. Yeah, that was classic.
Oh, and when we were watching them like talk, the players' speeches and everything, and Landeskog just takes off his jersey and he's just there with no shirt on with like the, I don't know, Norway flag or wherever he's from flag. That was pretty epic too.
Swedish, I believe.
Swedish.
The Sweden flag, I believe.
Pretty epic.
Yeah.
And then we had 4th of July yesterday, so of course I was drinking then, which was miserable because it was hot as hell, and I had basically just like stopped drinking at like 5 because I was just like, it's too hot.
Yeah, you gotta be a smart drinker on the 4th of July. I went and got my my Long Island iced tea from La Costa Fiesta, sat down and watched the parade roll by like I do every year. Now, I don't always get a Long Island. I mix it up every year, though, depending on what I'm feeling. But this year I got a Long Island. Sat there and watched the parade roll by. Went over to some friends' houses and grilled up and had some beers. And it was an early day for me, though. Little man was tired by the time we finally went home. And he had a long keeping up with him all day. He was just watching the parade and everything go by. And a friend's house, Zach's, we were over at Zach's. They have a trampoline. He couldn't get enough of that. He was on there, and Zach's son Xander was just bouncing him all around. And so it was fun. It was fun. Good day. I love the 4th. Watched the Palmer Lake fireworks off in the distance and the flying horse fireworks kind of right in my face from my back deck. So that was pretty cool. Didn't have to go anywhere. Just sat there and watched them and then went inside and went to bed. SB, you do anything?
Not really, man. Went down to Pueblo, grilled up all the food, made some peanut butter cookies, peanut butter Nutella cookies. Those were dope.
That sounds delicious,
Oh,
actually.
man, they were so good. Yeah, then we were back home like a little after 10. I didn't watch a single firework display anywhere. So
Well, next year, apparently this is Flying Horse's new thing. It's private only to Flying Horse residents, so that's why you don't hear about it advertised, I found out. But if anybody wants to watch fireworks, you can just come set up on my deck and leave as soon as it's over and no questions asked.
We have a resident in Flying Horse that can let us party at his place. So
Yeah, but what I mean is that's still kind of a hassle. Because then you got to go around people and try to get out. And I'm saying, I just went from my back deck to my bed, like, boom.
yeah, I mean, the rest of us have to do it.
yeah.
You get to go right to bed. So
Yeah, that was nice. It was nice. So sure, we'll have a little bit more nonsense, but we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. There's a college football topic going around that I've got some thoughts on. We're going to discuss a little bit, and then we are going to discuss some fantasy. And we've got a league that Zach and I are in that we co-manage a team. And there's been conversations back and forth of rankings within the league and how guys feel about their teams, and led to a conversation about how one of the league members was going to reach out and have an actual group. I guess you pay them to actually do like a podcast basically on your team and discuss it. And I said, hey, I can get my guys to do that for free.
yeah, we'll make fun of you for free. It's
So-
not a problem.
So we'll run it down. We'll run down every team. It's a 12-team dynasty PPR with some crazy quarterback scoring. Figure we could have some fun and kind of start fantasy conversations a little early this year with training camps coming up in about 2 weeks, and kind of get a jump on it and have some fun with it.
Before you throw in college football, real fast. I don't know if Aaron has seen any of the headlines out there. There was a shit ton of money given out last week to NBA players.
Yes, there was.
Like, it was like Oprah. You get 200 million. You get 200 million. Like, she just.
There were some large contracts set. Joker got paid the biggest contract in NBA history.
Wow.
Our guy got paid.
He did. He deserved it.
5-year, 264.
Some of these guys, I was like, well, almost all of them. A couple of them are from small market teams. To see them keep their guy, I like it.
The only one that really surprised people, and it wasn't a huge surprise, but we'll say a little hesitation involved, is Zion getting his rookie max from the Pelicans.
Well, I don't think it was. Well, it's twofold. On the Pelicans part, it's like, do we really want to guarantee this money to a guy who keeps getting hurt? And then on Zion's side, it's like, do I really want to sign to keep playing in New Orleans?
Yeah. It was interesting. I expected it was going to happen, so it doesn't surprise me. But there were some red flags, question marks, however you want to say it, on both sides that made you wonder if it was going to get done.
Great guy, fun to watch. I hope the best for him. I'm glad he got I am happy that if he does get healthy and plays well, New Orleans still has their guy. That's one thing I really like. I want to see that keep happening where, John Morant gets drafted. He stays with the Memphis Grizzlies.
He got his rookie max from Memphis.
Zion got his. Like, I want to see these rookies who play well stay with their team that are in the smaller markets.
Well, and that's kind of the way the NBA is trending back to, is you stay with your team, you want to win, you want to be that guy. This creating super teams thing, I think, is dead, to be perfectly honest with you. Durant's still trying to do it. Kyrie's still trying to do it. LeBron's still trying to do it. That's really it, to be honest with you, because here's my biggest two takeaways from the NBA starter free agency. The biggest not surprise was Russell Westbrook opting into his $47 million player option.
He's like, I can get $47 million from the Lakers or like nothing from anybody else.
Yeah, vet minimum
Sign
from
me up.
everybody else. Yeah, I'm going to opt into that. That was the biggest non-surprise. The biggest surprise was James Harden declining his $45 million player option and willing to negotiate a little bit longer term but less money deal with Philadelphia to free up their books to actually put a team around him and Embiid.
He's going to get more than the 45, but
no, he won't.
Not per year, but in the long run.
Long run, yes,
money.
yes. But he could have left Philadelphia and somebody probably would have given him the 45 Supermax just because they're dumb, like New York. Like if he really wanted to go play somewhere and make the money, he could have. So I was surprised considering dude doesn't come, not in shape, hasn't looked great. The fact that he knows all those things, but was like, actually, now I kind of want to win. Surprised me a lot. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now it's really going to come down to some of those role players, depth position guys that are going to start getting filled out here in the next week or two. And that's where it's going to be real interesting to see how teams fill out their rosters. And then you'll have a better idea of what it's going to look like for teams to be competing. I think the other big surprise was Gobert getting traded. Honestly, that move doesn't move the needle much for me. I think Gobert is overhyped, overpriced. The dude can play some defense and he can rebound. That's about it. And then the other move would be DeJounte Murray getting traded to the Hawks, which is a good pickup for the Hawks. It also means, Sam, close your earmuffs, buddy, earmuffs. The Spurs are going to suck for a long time. And I'm going to be amazed if Pop stays around much longer. So Spurs are in disarray. I don't ever see them really recovering ever again, because the likelihood of you having a great team and then just having a bad year because your number one dude in Robinson gets injured and you get the number one pick and get Duncan, and the likelihood of that ever happening again is slim to none.
Having a one of the best coaches of all time in Pop, that's not going to happen. Like, Pop keeps them, even though they don't have the greatest talent.
It's more likely that you'll have a great coach that you'll just get rid of because you never give him good talent than it is that you're going to have good talent and have a bad coach. So, yeah, a lot of interesting storylines going around in the NBA right now, which I love. So
money,
no doubt. But that's what the NBA is known for, man. Giving them dollars out. That's why them NFL players are so upset. They want to taste that NBA money, and they're not getting it just yet.
They want
They're
that
close, though. They're close, but they're not getting it yet.
They want that guarantee.
That's exactly what they want. Imagine 264 guaranteed. No matter what, you're getting that paid.
No matter what.
I will say, though, none of these are the greatest contract in sports history. Do you know what the greatest contract in sports history is? Happened on July 1st.
I mean, that's not the greatest.
It's the
really
greatest
good, though.
contract in sports history. Bobby Bonilla Day, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar, the dude got the Mets to pay him, I think it's like 32 years.
Well, do you know how it happened?
Oh, yeah. You tell the story. Go ahead.
So I want to say it was like 2002. It was early 2000s. And the Mets didn't have enough money to pay him out, even though they gave him a guaranteed contract. So they asked to delay his payments till 2011. And then they would pay him for like 34 years. They'd pay him like $1.1 million. So it's kind of like a
July 1st.
Basically a deferred annuity is what they gave him.
Every July 1st, the man collects a paycheck from
now,
the Mets.
what would have really sucked for Bonilla is if he had died between 2002 and 2011,
Right?
Yeah,
because then he wouldn't have seen that money.
I would have been a bummer. That would have been
So,
a bummer. But
Greatest contract ever? Probably not.
I think
but-
it is because he got all his money. He went and played somewhere else, got even more money, and the Mets are still paying him $1 million plus
Yeah.
every year.
He did leave and get paid by somebody else, and then stop playing baseball because
And
he was
retired
at the end of his.
eventually,
He
but-
was into the end of his career, but
Yeah, but still, I don't care what anybody says. Yes, you can get bigger contracts, you can get guaranteed contracts, things of that nature. The fact that man was like, yeah, because the way he did it, he actually makes more doing it this way than had they just paid him out when they owed him the money.
not true.
Yes,
Not true.
yes,
If he'd have taken that $35 million and invested it at that point, he'd have.
that's
more
not what
money
he was going to
now.
get paid at that time. That's the beauty of this deal.
Correct. It was a smaller deal. Yes.
He would have gotten less money if he had just taken the buyout from them that they were trying
It
to
was like
offer.
$8 million or something like that. Is what
Instead,
it,
he's
what it
now.
was.
I understand interest, inflation, and all of those things. I get that, but the fact that he was like, "Nah, actually, how about you pay me $1 million a year for 32 years, and we'll call it even?" And the Mets were like, "Yeah, that
That's-
sounds good."
That's why when you win the lottery or Powerball,
You
if you're
take the
lucky
payout.
enough, you take the payout
Damn right.
so that you've got your money now versus
But
taking
this
it
isn't
over
that. This is a
years.
dude who had already gotten paid and was finding a way to get
Hope-
paid even more on top.
Hopefully, he was good with his money, so he already had a bunch stacked, and then he was like, "Wait, I stopped playing. I don't have to do anything. I get $1 million a year every year for like 30 years. I'm in."
Brilliant move. Just absolutely. There are plenty of stories written on this. If you go read up on this a little more, you will realize this is the greatest contract in sports history. Like, it's just brilliant move by him and his agent. And the Mets are stupid. They are also owned at the time by, some hedge fund investors who turned out Bernie Madoff, who are jail and things of that nature now. So it was even more genius on his part to do it that way, given the situation where, government could have just come and said the Mets are done. Granted, that they would never let that happen. MLB and things would step in and so on and so forth. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
In hindsight, it sounds more like common sense. I'm gonna wait till you actually have money to pay me, and then,
yeah, I just love it. Every July 1st, Bobby Bonilla Day. That's what it's been come to known as. It's
otherwise they'd be
just love
writing
it.
him a hot check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yo, Mets, this bounced again, bro.
Speaking of money, for those that don't college football, start paying attention because things are about to get real. I know everybody heard the news towards the end of last college football season with Texas and Oklahoma announcing they're going to the SEC. And last week, Big Ten said, "Hold my beer." And they went and snatched USC and UCLA and got that LA market money into the Big Ten. Here's the beauty of that. They are in the process right now of renegotiating their TV deal. So the word on the street right now is that this TV deal is going to be so lucrative that each school is going to be now pulling in roughly $100 million a year on the TV rights. $100 million. Make this even crazier. Give you a little perspective here. The ACC's TV right deal doesn't expire until 2034 or 2036. One of those numbers. They're locked in for the next 14 years, so 36. The next 14 years on their rights, and their teams, if I remember right, are somewhere around the neighborhood of 30 million, 20 to 30 million a year.
Sure.
So put that into perspective. If the SEC, and I don't know what the SEC media rights are, I know they're crazy. But if the SEC or the Big Ten comes calling, you think those teams are going to be like, no, I think we'll hold out with the ACC and see what happens. No, I think we'll stay with the Pac-12. No, I think I'll be Big 12. No, man, they're jumping ship immediately. This is going to turn into, in my personal opinion, I've heard people say East, West, blah, blah, blah. I think it's going to become a North-South, Big Ten, SEC. And then from there, it'll eventually split into some type of NFL format where you'll have different divisions, East, West, North, Central, things of that nature. Now, I've been saying this is going to happen for roughly the last year and a half or so, but it looks like it's legit happening right now. here's my big brain thought process here after SC and UCLA joined. If the Big Ten is smart, they don't wait and they go right now. Notre Dame joins because Notre Dame can't stay independent anymore. With the amount of money that's getting thrown around right now, there's no reason to stay independent and collect $20 million a year from NBC when you can go join this conference and make $100 million. There's just no point staying independent anymore. There's 0 point. So I think they grab Notre Dame, which makes them lopsided. So now they're an odd number of teams in the Big Ten. So you grab Notre Dame
or Big 13, whatever.
Then I think it would be 17 actually with Notre Dame, I believe.
Big 17.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think you grab Notre Dame, and once you have them, I think you go back out west and you grab Oregon. Then I think you go out east and you grab Clemson. And then you decide if you want another local market. Pittsburgh's a huge media market. You could go grab Pitt. They've got some natural rivalries with some of these teams already if you wanted to. Or you go down to Florida and you get one of Miami or Florida State. So Notre Dame, Oregon, Clemson, guaranteed. Grab those three immediately. Don't let the SEC get their claws on them. Go grab those three teams now. And then you find one more to fill out and round everything out. Whether it's a Florida State, it's a Miami, it's a Utah, it's a Pitt. You could think about Colorado because Denver's a big market, but I mean, you don't need another Rutgers in the division. So probably not that. But you go grab those 4 schools immediately. And then you let the SEC play catch up a little bit. And then from there, it's going to turn into its own division. Everybody that's left out is going to be a JV type thing, hoping that they can get into the big dance somehow, some way eventually. Maybe they have relegation. I mean, Maryland and Rutgers really don't need to be in the upper echelon of teams. I could throw Nebraska in there, unfortunately, over the last 20 years. They probably don't necessarily deserve to be up there either, but they bring in the dollars, which makes sense, whereas a Rutgers and Maryland do not. Colorado does not. So that's why Nebraska is grandfathered into this wherever it goes, because they bring the money in. Remember when we did this, SP? And Zach and Pinky had to try to explain to me how Nebraska doesn't make money anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do recall that.
So Nebraska's grandfathered in no matter what happens. So I'm not just being biased here. That's just a fact. But I think that's where we're going. And if I'm the Big Ten, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to stop at SC and UCLA. I'm going to make Notre Dame join. I'm going to find a way to convince them that this is the right thing to do. It's the right time. You're not independent anymore. And then I'm going to grab those 3 other teams in whatever order you want to. And then let the SEC catch up a little bit from there. Because after that, pickings get real thin. Miami or Florida State, they could both end up in the SEC. I could see that happening.
I mean, just the ACC sucks. Just blow it up.
So, I mean, once you take out Clemson, Florida State, Miami, you got the only thing really left is North Carolina and Virginia Tech.
And Virginia Tech, yeah.
Which both are decent additions. So I could see either one of those going to the Big Ten as well. But like I said, I think you need to grab Notre Dame, Clemson, Oregon. And then whatever 4th team you want to throw into that mix afterwards would just be, cherry on top, gravy on the taters, whatever you want to call it. So, but it's going to get real. And things are going to be – college landscape is going to look a whole lot different by 2025.
You won't get an argument from me. I think they really need to, go to a super league anyways and just – I want to see I think college football would be more fun if the top 20 teams, 25 teams are playing each other on a regular basis.
It's probably going to be closer to 40
or
when it's all said and done. But giving you a realistic number, I think that's probably where it's going to end up.
On a regular basis that are at least field a decent team, all playing each other on a regular basis. I think that's more fun than watching, whoever kicked the shit out of Rutgers or San Diego State
or Alabama playing our Sisters of the Poor a couple times a year.
Those aren't fun
Division
to watch.
2 schools padding their stats and paying them a couple million just so they can get a win. I hate that.
We don't need tune-up games anymore. Let's just play games.
Yep, exactly. Now, here's what I'll say for all those traditionalists out there. If you haven't heard my baseball takes, go back and listen because I'm about to tell you the same damn thing. Your time is come and gone, ladies and gentlemen. The world has evolved. It's time for you to jump on that wagon and move forward with the rest of us. Quit living in the past. I don't want to hear about these rivalries or what made college football. No, what made college football is those rivalries were worth watching. And most of those rivalries are no longer worth watching anymore. So that's why you move forward. Period. End of story. And this whole trying to create new rivalries, the Big Ten somehow thinks that Nebraska and Iowa is a rivalry because they're border states. You know the only people that think that's a rivalry? Iowa fans. Nebraska doesn't care about it at all. Would we like to win? Yeah. Have you kicked our butts recently? Yeah. Do we think it's a rivalry, or do we feel like we really lost something when we lose to you? No, not even a little bit. So when you now in college football try to force a rivalry to be something when it never has or never will be, that just dilutes the product even more. Move forward, evolve, innovate, change for the better. Baseball, start paying attention to what college football is doing, because you're about to get left in the dust even more. Got anything else to add?
No, I mean,
Your Canes better step up, man, because if they get stuck in the ACC, it's not going to look good for them ever reviving.
I mean, they still got some money, so they should be good. But yeah, they need to get out of the ACC. I mean, there shouldn't be an ACC. There's like 5 teams in the ACC, like out of like 12. Like, let's just move them somewhere
The
else.
ACC is a basketball school conference, not football. Basketball school conference. To be perfectly honest with you, once the old Big East was blown up for college basketball, I didn't care about any of those other divisions anymore. Duke and Carolina can schedule their 2 games a year. They can just do that in perpetuity. No matter what divisions they're in, what conferences they're in, it doesn't matter. Their basketball programs can still play each other a couple times a year and keep that rivalry going. You don't need to be in the same conference to do that. And if that's the only reason people are trying to keep the ACC together is so you can still have Duke, North Carolina basketball, that is not going to be a good thing. Just saying. Just my 2 cents. But I'm telling you, I don't think the Big Ten's done adding teams. I think they're just waiting for the Notre Dame domino to fall. And if the SEC isn't careful, they're going to get left with the crumbs real quick. Real quick. Oh, last point I want to throw out here real quick. Hey, Big 12, if you're paying attention, how'd that work out for you latching on to Texas when Nebraska said it's not a good idea? Just, let me know. Let me know. Texas, how'd that work out for you? Big 12. Good? Yeah? Okay, bye.
Big 12 is going to be irrelevant once Texas and Oklahoma leaves.
They're irrelevant once Nebraska left. That's the kicker. They warned them. They told them what was coming. Texas didn't want to share money like everybody else was doing. Guess what? Texas finally had to just try to keep the conference alive. And now Texas is leaving anyways. Real smart, Big 12. Brilliant. God, you guys are genius.
Yeah, Big 12 is going to get broken up anyways.
Well, there's talk actually that the Big 12 is going to try to basically inhale what's remaining of the Pac-12 to try and stay relevant. And I'm like, well, that's going to be without Oregon, because there's no way Oregon's going to stay in that. They're going to the SEC or they're going to the Big Ten. I guarantee it. So what's the Big 12 going to be? Okay, we'll have Washington, Utah, Colorado. Okay, we'll keep the Big 12 team. We'll get Iowa State, TCU. Yeah, that's Texas Tech,
Kansas.
West Virginia. Wow, you guys are sounding amazing. Not at all. So I'm excited to see how this unfolds, because I think before college football season starts at the last weekend of August, I think we're going to see a couple more moves still. And if we don't, they'll just hold off until next offseason. Then next offseason, you'll see a whole domino effect, because they'll all have a year to plan it. The 14 playoff is dead. I know they've got a contract going for, I think it's another 3 years. With the college football playoffs or whatever it is right now. I think that's another contract. I think that contract ends in 3 years or 5 years. It's not much longer. But I think by next offseason, you'll hear news that is completely dead. And there will be a whole new scenario going on before next college football season starts. You'll hear about it. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to take effect right away, because like UCLA and USC can't even join the Big Ten until 2024. Texas and Oklahoma aren't joining the SEC until 2025. So there's a couple years before we'll see all of the changes take effect, but I think they'll all be announced by next offseason.
As long as we get to see some good games, man.
It's coming.
That's what I want.
It's coming.
I've missed that for lunch. So after Miami has sucked for like the last 20 years, I don't really enjoy watching them because they break my heart. But I still like watching good football, and you just don't get enough of it in college.
And Alabama's going to have to live in their heyday of Saban. Because once they don't have 2 easy wins on their schedule every year, and they get buys middle of the season, they're not going to be as good as they have been. Now, don't get me wrong, they're really good. I'm not trying to take, but you put those 2 other games in conference games, and you have chances to actually lose a game rather than just get a bye week. It changes everything. And the Big Ten doesn't have that right now. Big Ten doesn't play our Sisters of the Poor middle of November.
Well, don't forget, like now with NIL, Alabama's going to lose players to other schools because Alabama doesn't have as much money as Texas, Miami.
You know who's got more money than Alabama, and people don't like hearing this? My Cornhuskers.
Well, they sure aren't using it.
Well, you got to win first. Like, you got to show you can win before kids are just going to come there to get paid, because they can go anywhere and get paid. But they want to go get paid and win. So this year's going to be a big year for the Huskers. If they don't win this year, then I will shut my mouth for a while. I will.
That's not true.
I will. I'll have to.
Calling bullshit there.
Nope. You can hold me to it.
They'll suck this year, next year, and the following year he'll still go, you know what? I think we're going to be pretty good this year.
Nope. I will shut my mouth. This is a make it or break it year for Frost. I still believe in him. I still think he can turn the program around and bring them back to a dominant program. But it has to be done this year.
Aaron, I think we need to hang up that whiteboard and just start writing down things when Caleb's like, yeah, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm like, we need to write that down. We need receipts.
I never said that. I never said that before. I'm saying it right now. Like, hold me to it. Nebraska doesn't make a bowl game this year. I will shut my mouth with Nebraska.
And if I had the diligence, I'd literally just put together, a sound bites of him going on and on and on. But that, and I also wanted to do one of all the careers he killed by simply liking those players.
I've killed a lot of careers.
Yeah.
Killed a lot of careers.
You killed so many careers in fantasy.
That is unfortunate because I have killed a lot of careers.
And it is ironic that, with Deshaun Watson, that was like a 2-year thing of like being on his side. So the longer,
bringing people along with me, jumping on the bandwagon, and then boy, was that downfall
the
long.
longer you hype someone up, the worse downfall they're gonna have, dude.
That's true.
Listen, Hunt, what's his name from the Raiders?
Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, Ruggs. That was a whole year and a half of talking about how good he is,
Poor
and then
bastard.
look at that. Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. I'll admit it though.
That's why I don't draft a single person you talk about. So
Probably smart.
Aaron's got a little list. He's like,
and
Caleb likes that guy.
And as soon as
He's
he starts
awesome.
talking good about Cowboys players, I tell him to shut his mouth. So
You love CeeDee Lamb, don't you?
Big CeeDee Lamb fan. Big CeeDee Lamb guy. Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope that starts turning around soon. Because, well, these last 3 years, I have taken out some legit stars.
You have. Your track record is awesome.
Man, it's a tough swallow to swallow.
I'm
Well,
like,
let's ruin some more people's days because
Caleb really likes Paris Campbell. Hasn't played.
hasn't played. Let's start talking about this fantasy league I was discussing, because now that that's on the books, maybe I can actually destroy some people's teams and make my team a little better, huh? Let's bring everybody down to Caleb's level.
Let's see what we can do here.
So,
Are we just going team by team? How are you leading us through this?
We'll start off team by team, and then we'll just kind of go back and kind of give an idea of, we'll say top 4 teams who have a chance of legit winning this year, and moving forward, who we think might have the best chances of building a dynasty. So it's a dynasty league, PPR. Quarterback scoring is crazy. So I'm not going to go through all the ways that quarterbacks score, but just know if the quarterback isn't averaging roughly 70 a week, you're already in a hole. because they're getting points per completion and bonus points for long touchdowns and all sorts of stuff. So it's basically like having a 2 QB league, but it's only 1 QB with some really crazy scoring. Play 2 running backs.
So it's not a super flex.
Not a super flex. Standard, actually, when it comes to roster, other than a couple extra spots. So you got the QB with crazy point scores. You got 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex, kicker, and a defense. So a little bit old school with some twists. So let's just start right at the top here. For this league, when you guys go back and listen, all we did is go to the league homepage, scroll down to the standings, and we're just going right down 1 through 12. No particular order. These aren't actual standings yet because the season hasn't started. It's just the way that Sleeper has everybody listed out. So first team on the list, we've got
And let's be honest. This is the best part of the fantasy season because everybody's 0-0.
Yeah,
From here on, it's either disappointment or a lot of hope.
absolutely. And I'm sure I'm going to get some real fun messages after the league listens to this because there's going to be some people who are just going to get, truth bombs dropped on them left and right.
I gotta say that was my favorite way to talk trash when I'd be fairly competitive on online games. Like right when we're getting ready to win, I'd tell them, "Hey, do you remember when it was close in the loading screen?"
Well, this is everybody's loading screen.
That's right.
So first up, we've got you're built to fall. His team mediocrities.
Oh, mediocrities. Okay.
So I'll let you guys kind of because I know everybody's team. So I'll obviously throw them.
And this is the second year.
This is I don't know 3rd, 4th. This will be going into the 4th year, 5th year, I believe. 4th year. Zach and I came in after year 1. We took over a team. We took an orphan team and have tried to turn it around. First year in the league, our guy. I think this might be the 4th year, actually. If I'm wrong, sorry, guys. But the need to tank at the jockey type 1. Our boy Cody is in this league. His team back-to-back champ at Beast Chewy 15. Cody's won the last 2 years. He's going for a 3-peat this year. So it's established enough to where you kind of get a feel for people. You see where guys are trying to go. And
I mean, the first problem that's wrong with this league is it's a dynasty league and you're still playing with a kicker and a defense.
There's been some conversations with
Like in a dynasty league, that should just be outruled.
I mean,
Period.
I kind of like it.
No, because who's ever there's no additional defense that I can pick up because the team's already taken. Kickers, the kickers go up and down to where you can pick up different kickers year by year. You can't pick up a different defense.
Well, you
just
either
can't.
carry an extra defense or you're stuck with what you got. It's all about roster construction,
Yeah,
baby. It's just
nah.
roster construction.
No, it makes no sense. Get rid of defense altogether.
Pinky,
Get rid
that's
of
not what
kickers
we're
altogether.
discussing right now. That's
Sorry.
not. We're not discussing the rules and
Hey,
regulations of the league.
I'm
Okay,
allowed to say what I want to say.
this is true. This is why I brought
And
you guys in.
when I look at this dynasty league, the first thing that sticks out to me is there's kickers and defense. That should be just booted.
Booted. All right.
Booted.
Notes taken. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. Outside perspective speaking.
There's a lot. There's mediocrities has got some things here that I'm liking. I really love Renfro and Waller. I really like both those guys.
Okay.
I'm excited there.
You like the stack there. What are you thinking about his quarterback?
I mean,
We all know how you feel about Herbert.
Herbert's money. He's going to put up a lot. He's going to put up numbers. I want to see him put up wins, but at least right now he puts up numbers.
Okay.
So
So you think he's a little overrated because he doesn't win, but fantasy
fantasy-wise.
value wise,
yeah,
solid.
beautiful. I mean, Tannehill and Tua. I think Tua is actually going to have a really good year this year.
He's finally come around
If
to
he-
Tua.
If he fails, it's all on him.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got an offensive coach. He's got offensive skill players out of this world. Hill and Waddle. I think Waddle is going to be just amazing this year because of Hill.
Agreed.
I'm really high on Waddle this year. So their running backs are poor, but they're serviceable. But I really like so I think Tua is going to have a good year. So having Tua there, but in this kind of league when you're only playing one quarterback, I mean he's only going to play Tua week 8. Like
Right.
you're never gonna bench Herbert.
No, absolutely
So-
not. Absolutely not.
Unless you're like, well, Herbert's playing Baltimore and he sucks against that defense. So, sometimes that's when you get too cute because you're like, oh, I'll pull him for that 1 week. And then, of course, he still throws 5 touchdowns on him. So, go ahead. What do you got there, Aaron? What do you see on this team?
Yeah, so I was kind of going off a little rating scale here, generally what their team is at. And I put their QB situation at about a 7.5. Their running back situation is at a 4.5 at best, because that's looking pretty whack in my opinion.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, he might actually just find random free agents better than what he's starting with. Wide receivers are okay. You know, it just kind of depends what they get. Hunter Renfro's value is going to go down with Devontae Adams coming in.
See, I think it actually goes up with Devontae.
I was going to
Adams
say,
coming in.
or it goes up.
I have a
think-
different take on that. I think it goes up because he's got Josh McDaniels, and he's going to do all the option routes like Edelman and Welker did.
Yeah, that's true.
And
a
that's
good
where
point,
I
too.
think-
true also.
I
Yeah.
think that's where Renfro.
I also think Waller gets a boost with Adams being there because
Same.
Waller won't be double teamed.
Yeah. Obviously Waller, great tight end as long as he stays healthy. Other than that, backup, bench QBs they're solid. I think Tua has a lot of potential this year. I think Tannehill's going to be decent. Other than that, everybody else is kind of trash.
I love Tua on a redraft. A little bit later,
Sure.
I love Tua on a
Sure.
redraft.
Good
Yeah.
value there.
I'm down with that.
Scrolling down a little bit here, if you notice, future picks, he's got a 2023 first, no 24 first or 25 first.
Yuck.
Yeah. Agreed. So you go back and look at the roster construction and the team overall, and then knowing he doesn't really have future picks coming his way.
That running back situation, I don't see how this guy
Yeah.
makes the playoffs.
There's no way you should have that running back situation unless you have a ton of picks. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way I could picture.
Like
you being in that
Singletary came on
situation.
last year at the end of the year, so I don't mind that at all. And Fournette's really steady. I think he's going to play well for Tampa this year. But like J.D. McKissick is the only running back on this guy's roster after that.
Now, to get it even a little deeper here, obviously I'm in this league, so I know a little bit more. Go click on Singletary and look at his history real quick.
He just gets traded left and right.
No, just go look. Look what our boy did with his mediocrities team.
Wait, hold on. So he was drafted in 2019
Just look at the very top one because he just got Singletary on his team.
for Gallup and a first. Was this dude high?
It's a good question.
Listen, we don't do UAs before trades here. All right,
I mean,
it is what it is.
wow. I mean, the guy doesn't have any running backs, so he was a little desperate. So,
You're going to give up Gallup in a first. There's better options to go snag.
oh, sure. Was Philip Lindsay available? Like, he has better options. He's with the Colts now. Like, that's not a bad deal.
So, I'm getting a consensus here that we're feeling
Is
like
this-
this team is
Is
middle
this a
to
10
bottom.
man? It's 10 man?
12.
12 man?
12
He's
man league.
definitely in the bottom 6.
Okay. Okay, let's move on next. Next up, we've got the commish of the league, the guy who started it all. This guy's been super cool. I'll give TapNet mad props for being a really great commish, doing his best to put out fires and keep level heads. And,
Which is really tough to do.
Yes, especially with the league that's complete unknowns. He didn't know any of these guys. None of these guys are really buddies. He just started a league on Sleeper, asked whoever wanted to come join him to join him, and he's been running it like a champ since. So I got a lot of respect for TapNet as a commish. He's solid
I'm
commish.
gonna let Aaron take this one first.
Yeah, so Tap is a nice looking team, really nice looking team. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields has potential. I think Gardner's actually going to have a decent year. I might be in the minority with that, but I think he's.
Where is he going to have a decent year?
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence. My apologies.
No. Back up there,
No,
man.
he's going to have a great year playing Madden. Probably drinking too much and just looking cool. But yeah, no, and obviously his running back situation is pretty sweet as long as both of those guys stay healthy. McCaffrey and Jacobs, that's a pretty good deal.
His starting lineup The only guy that sucks is Clyde.
Yeah, true.
This league's very aware, just as you guys are. I think Rojo is the guy to have in Kansas City. I think he has a baller year.
I have Clyde in a lot of leagues, and I seriously regret that decision.
Yeah, I think he's going to be demoted to a third down role, specialist role very quickly, and even that
He's not going to get the third down role. That's Jerick McKinnon.
He's known for catching passes coming out of LSU. That's part of the reason they drafted him.
Jerick McKinnon's the third
I don't think
down
McKinnon's
guy.
that great. I think he'll get injured, and they'll have to go to CEH anyways. But how long does that last? Because by all accounts, Rojo can catch the ball too. He just wasn't given the opportunity because for whatever reason, Bruce Arians hates him. And Andy Reid likes a 3-down back. He's proven that time and time again throughout his history.
This is a steady team.
Now the only problems I see for him are probably in 2 to 3 years. So
Oh yeah. Because once Rodgers is gone, like he's screwed.
well, you got those also other contracts, so you don't
And
know
he
where
has
Chubb's going
no-
to show up, or excuse me, not Chubb, but McCaffrey. You don't know.
He has almost
Patrick
absolutely no
Jacobs.
picks next year.
Yeah,
Yeah, his pick situation is rough. He kind of went all in here for the next year or two. I don't think his quarterback situation is the problem, honestly, because we know how I feel about Fields. Regardless of what he does
So
on an NFL
you-
level, game day Sundays, he's going to be a great fantasy quarterback.
If you pick Fields up and put him on any other team, I'm probably excited. But he's in Chicago.
I mean, I agree with that. I still think he's going to ball out. I have this feeling it's just going to happen. He is really good, and I've been saying that for a long time.
So, Aaron, you just heard it here. Do not draft Fields because he's going to be ruined.
I got a lot of field stock. You should probably stay away.
that's right. That's right.
Sorry, Tapnep. I'm ruining careers,
you know what
baby.
It is? You know what it is? You're like the last guy to buy into that crypto. You know what I mean? When everyone's like, "Yeah, Ponzi's done, sell," and that's the guy we were waiting for.
I do think this is a top 6 roster.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, easy. Well, okay. So the first guy, I have his team at a 6.3 out of 10, and second dude is at an 8.5. So definitely a nice jump in comparison.
That's a big jump. What worries me for Tapnep, I love his wide receiving core. I think Pitts has a nice year for his tight end spot. Where I feel he hurts a lot is with his running backs because they are both known for injuries the last 2 years. And if one of them goes down, CEH isn't going to fill that gap, and he doesn't really have anything sitting on his bench to take that next jump either. So
You're right.
he is a starter heavy without a lot of options.
Ooh.
Now,
But I'm definitely noticing that about all these teams, there's not much depth. at all.
there's a
So-
few of them that don't. Now, he does have Olave sitting on his bench. So with his wide receiver depth in his starting lineup, he could look to possibly make a move and add another running back piece if he wanted to for a little bit of depth. But starting lineup, you look up and down at like SP just said.
He's
Said,
top
what are you
6.
saying? 8.5?
Yeah.
So solid upper echelon of the league for
Top
sure.
6.
Next up, we got our boy Wildcard Sports team. Wildcard Sports, real creative.
All right. I've got one here. I've got a take right here.
Let's hear it.
Bro, trade a fucking quarterback.
You think so?
You can't play all those guys. All these guys are good fantasy quarterbacks. Burrow being really good. Kirk Cousins, Tom Brady. You cannot play them all.
Here's the kicker,
Trade
though.
one.
Who are you trading?
I'm trading. I'm probably trading Cousins unless a team that's right there that needs a quarterback because Brady's going to have a good fantasy year.
Okay, but let's be honest. Who's going to trade for either one of these guys?
Yeah, it's franchise.
Hey,
I mean,
get what you can. Brady. If you trade Brady, get what you can.
What would you take? What would you get? What you can take
But
for Brady?
You're
then?
never playing Brady over Burrow.
right. But what would you take for him then? A second?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's it. In this situation, yes. If
For a
Okay.
QB desperate team that needs a guy that I can start right now that's going to score me a lot of points, Brady's that guy. Trade him.
Okay.
you know what I'd do? I'd trade Brady for Kamara.
I don't know about that.
I mean, who's
Why-
going to trade Brady for Kamara though?
Well, I mean, not this guy because
I don't know about that.
he's
but
got Murray and Lamar Jackson, so he's not hurting for QBs. But
I'm
just
I'm
saying,
not giving up Kamara for Brady.
So I like this
He's only
guy's
playing half a season.
this guy's squad. Man,
I was telling you, there are
Man.
some teams with some depth, and he's
Burrow, Chubb, Henry, Samuel, Scary Terry, Schultz. He's got Melvin Gordon, which is a good backup. Kareem Hunt's a good backup. Rashad Penny's a good backup. Right now, he's got Ken Walker, which will be a stud in the
So
future.
he's got Rashad Penny and Walker. So one way or the other, he's got a solid starter there.
I think Penny's the guy for the first like 6-7 weeks, and then Walker.
Penny could be the guy all season if he stays healthy.
And
Because
then
he finally showed his talent at the end of last
he's
year.
got Adam Thielen and Juju Smith-Schuster on injured reserve. Like those two guys are
Oh, yeah.
are good spot plays too.
He's got Amon St. Brown.
and he's got Trey Lance on taxi squad, bro. Trade a quarterback. All right, trade a quarterback. Come on, man.
Truth.
Agreed.
In fact, trade Lance and get some first round picks
Yeah.
because like you don't have a first round next year, which is a heavy running back quarterback draft.
I actually have that first.
And he needs to get a first back because Trey Lance does good.
Sent him Kareem Hunt for his first.
You have Burrow. Like, are you going to put Lance in over Burrow?
I agree.
You won't. So just trade Lance and get some picks out of it. Like that's he's got a great construction. Like get some picks, and you're still going to be that. This guy's a top 3 team.
He doesn't have any first until 2025. So no 2023, no 2024, but he's got some second and thirds to work with.
Which might be why he has a top
exactly
3 or 4
he
team
made
right
some
now.
moves, and I would agree that Wild Card has a top 3 team.
Wild Card
in
team-
my mind.
I happen to know somebody who won a Super Bowl last year without any picks. So
I'm roster baiting right now to that team.
So where are we at with a
was
level
TMI.
score on him right now, SP?
that was Wild Card Sports.
Yep.
I got him at an 8.25. So
8.25. So just under Tap.
Yep.
Just
I like
under.
his team more than Tap.
Uh,
I do. I like his team a lot more.
I
than
think
Tap.
you're saying that because he's got more depth than Tap.
I mean, it's just
There's
it's-
more depth here, but if you're looking at just the starting lineup, it's close. But all things considered, health
But
taken out of the
Wild Card
equation.
also has a lot that he could trade and make his team even better.
So overall in a dynasty, you're right. He could make some moves here and add 2 and possibly jump that 8.25 up a little bit for sure. For sure. But right now, what we've seen, you put him top 3, you thinking?
I like that team a lot. Wild Card team. Yeah.
SP's got him just under Tap right now, but close. Close.
yeah. Looking at the whole picture. Yeah. Man, that's rough. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, he's got like a lot of empty spots, man. Like
He's got Juju and Thielen in IR. So if he
that's
moves them
true.
up,
Okay.
Remember,
Those guys come
offseason, he hasn't
in-
had to make, he was able to do the draft and not have to make roster moves just yet. So he's got some time to decide how he wants to.
he is 2 over the roster limit.
Yeah. So he's going to have to drop some people. He'll put some guys in the starting lineup, but I mean, plug and play for his empty spots. I mean, put Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, and Amon Ross St. Brown in the
but
starting
Melvin
lineup.
Gordon's getting 910 touchdowns this
If
year.
you put those 3 in, what's that do to his score?
If he goes that route, I'd say I'd be putting him probably at like an 8.75.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That sounds about right. So there we go. Wild card. You're looking all right. Consensus is you should probably look at making some moves and moving some pieces to get some draft picks back or upgrade.
I didn't even see him on St. Raw. I like him a lot.
Yeah. So looking pretty solid here with where he's been and what he's constructed here.
Yeah. Wild Card. Make some moves, bro. Get some of those picks back.
Next up, we got the boy Scott Elson. Scott C. Elson 21.
It's not a bad team. It's just not not necessarily a great situation. So obviously with Kamara being out probably half the season, maybe longer, depending if things go worse for him.
His depth is very concerning, like really concerning.
Like he doesn't have any.
Correct.
No, he doesn't.
Well, you got Odell, who's like he may not play this year.
Odell's kind of, I think he's
Fuller
kinda-
hasn't even signed yet.
Fuller can't stay on the field.
Julio hasn't signed yet, and KJ's coming back from ACL as well.
Right.
I mean, you've got 2 tight ends that are like Conklin and Knox should be okay at tight end.
Yeah, but you can't. Okay, you can't take away the fact though that he has Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, and Alvin Kamara though, right? So by the end of that season, he's going to be cleaning.
But
up.
he needs to you got to rack up a couple wins early so
Mark
that he can afford
Andrews,
that.
Zeke, Kyler, and Lamar Jackson. Now, I personally would move one of them. Get back like
I mean,
a Daniel Jones type and another piece that you can start right now.
Well, like if you could get a T-Law and like a first, like for one of those guys would be all right. Somebody who might have some potential, and then you get a pick too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you're right. The depth is non-existent. He's got some possibilities behind Mark Andrews that he could also move for a little bit lesser.
I mean, he could probably get something for Dawson Knox.
I agree.
So he's just got no depth at all. Like this team, injuries or bye weeks. This guy,
if you could get a second for Dawson Knox, I'd probably move Dawson
or suspension. His taxi squad looks ugly. He's got 2 rookie quarterbacks on his taxi squad, which when you already have Lamar and Kyler, like you're not going to play any of these dudes over Lamar or Kyler. So
he's got 3 quarterbacks on his taxi squad.
Oh, 3. Like why did you draft 3 quarterbacks when you have 2 that you'll never play these rookies over those 2 guys?
Correct.
Like,
Now,
period.
Here's where Scott does redeem himself a little bit. You go down and look at his picks, and he's stacked up the next couple of years.
So trade some more players, stack up some more picks, revamp your whole team, because like you've got enough like old dudes, and you've got like you just don't have enough to compete. You just don't. It's not the worst team I've ever seen for sure, but this is a bottom 6 team this year.
The next team that we're going to look at is definitely the worst team you're going to look at.
If he drafts,
you think so?
If this isn't the worst, then this league's in trouble.
I mean,
if Scott, we got you bottom 6. You got some moves that could be made to revamp and rebuild, especially with all the picks you have coming your way. So keep in mind that should be a consideration.
All right, let's look at this team.
The
worst.
This next team is like the Jaguars of last season. It's pretty rough.
So this is our boy William from NCAA, the guy who runs the whole league, right?
Oh yeah.
This is William's team.
William, hold on, bro. We're gonna look at this
now. I will say, to his defense, this was an orphan team that I invited him in the league to take over because I knew he's active. He knows what he's doing. He's an intelligent guy. So he's working on rebuilding this team as we speak.
He's got some picks.
He's got 9 picks.
He's got some picks.
So yes. But right now, this is absolute trash. This is a dumpster fire of a team.
This is a dog shit team.
I'm not grading this. Sometimes you just write F and throw it back at the stupid kid who turned it in.
I personally think he's got some really great pieces moving forward.
Sell Mike Evans.
I think he should move Mike Evans now.
Sell Mike Evans.
I like the Breece Hall. I like the Traylon Burks. I like the TJ Hawkinson. I like the Dallas Goedert. He's got Davis Mills, which I like.
Sell Bateman if you can.
I like Bateman. I would hang on. That's young talent. I truly believe that.
In a rushing offense, sell Bateman.
That's fair. But again,
because you can get something for Bateman because he does have some potential.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
and he's got George Pickens on his taxi squad, who there's a lot of people said that was the best wide receiver in last year's draft.
Pittsburgh knows how to draft wide receivers.
So he's got some pieces to build around. Like you guys said, he's got a lot of picks coming his way.
It's dog shit this year.
Yeah.
But then in a year or two, it might be pretty
What do you have him at? Well, go back. What do you have Scott at?
Scott, I had at a 7.6.
7.6.
This
okay.
has got to be like a
where you got Team Agrikush, who's really William, not Team Agrikush. Him and the actual Team Agrikush had a little beef going, so he named his team as the other guy. It was pretty funny. Mad props to William. Even Team Agrikush thought
like
it was
naming
clever.
your team Fear Boner.
Yeah. So what do you got him at?
If I had to give this guy a number, it would be maybe a 5 if I was being generous.
Okay.
For this year, for sure.
For this year.
After he drafts, it could be.
But you can say it's pretty obvious. He took over something where he's doing a lot of rebuilding.
I hope not. Otherwise, I'm like, man, if you make half your life choices like you did at this
now,
team,
he's made some moves that people have questioned. He's very high on Cam Akers, so he traded a 2023 first for Cam.
No. There's like 4 running backs coming out in 2023. There's like 3 quarterbacks. Like if you can get 2023 picks,
agreed,
get them.
Yeah.
Like Mike Evans, go get a 2023 right now. You're gonna suck regardless.
It's true.
Like, and we already know Deshaun's not playing. You're gonna have to roll out Jameis Winston all year.
Yeah, you're not even going to get Baker because he might not be playing anywhere either. So
Baker's going to collect his $18 million.
That's what I'd do.
telling you, he's playing for the Browns.
Once they beg for him to come back,
They're going to.
sure.
They're going to because that roster is Super Bowl dark horse contender.
And
So,
even I'm all messed up.
hey, did you just take the last of my peach?
I did.
Damn, son.
I brought it.
I know.
Um,
Cheers, Peaky.
RG3 literally said the Browns need to beg for Baker to come back.
Oh, you should top me off with the.
Oh, I did this. Our sponsor for the show is 21 Seeds. I don't know if anybody can see it.
Yeah.
It's 21 Seeds Valencia Orange Tequila. It's got like that just zest of orange. Very good. It's very smooth.
Peaky SP big fans. I don't like tequila, so I'm not really touching it.
I
It's not
did-
bad. As far as tequila is concerned, it's not bad. I just don't really do tequila.
I did the 21 Seeds, Aaron.
Yeah.
And then I throw this as a topper.
Oh,
Delicious.
nice. I don't know if I need any more of that 21 seeds, dude. I was starting to fill that one a little bit.
But yeah, here you go. Take it out. It's all yours.
All right, so next up, this would be Zach and I's team.
Can we do that one last?
You want to do that one last?
Yeah, let's do that one
You
last.
want to just rip me apart at last when it's
Yeah.
all said and done? All right,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
skip it.
After I've seen everybody else.
Okay, here we go with our boy Cody, back-to-back champ. Keep in mind he's going for a three-peat right now.
Oof.
So he is basically sold out to win this year for a third time in a row.
Yeah. And he's probably going to.
So look it down and over. What are you thinking here?
I mean, he's got the best tight end fantasy wise. He's got the best two wide receivers fantasy wise.
Yep.
I think Jefferson's even better this year because he's going to have an actual offensive system.
Irv Smith comes back and Thielen comes back. You think he has as big a year?
Absolutely.
I don't.
It's a better offense. So the offense they're going to be running.
I will agree with that. I
So,
will agree with that.
What offense are they going to be running?
You see, it's McVay's offense.
Yeah. And who was in McVay's offense last year that had the best season overall?
Cooper Kupp.
Jefferson's that good.
But Cooper Kupp didn't really have anybody opposite him for the year that was going to take those touches away.
He had Woods for half the year, and then he had Odell.
Odell coming off an ACL injury.
Well,
still
no,
trying to
he
get right.
he had Odell health. Odell was healthy for that second half until the playoffs.
No tight end in that offense. No true running back.
I think Jefferson's going to be just as good because he's in a better offense.
I think Jefferson and Kupp both take a step back this year. Now, I say that, and I mean going from numbers 1 and 2 to like maybe 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So it's not like a huge drop off that I'm trying to talk about here. But I do think they take a slight step back.
I think Cooper might drop because of Allen Robinson. I think Jefferson's still going to be top dog
Okay.
in the Vikings.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love both of them. I think Saquon has a big bounce back year this year with Dayball.
Saquon's a risk, but he's already on his team. Eckler's solid, solid.
Godwin may not play right away, so that's
And
a
I'm
spot
not
he's gotta
even
fill.
playing Hurts over Stafford. I'm playing Stafford.
Yeah.
Well,
for
he's got
sure.
that option, right?
He's got that. I'm playing Stafford.
Here's what's going to make you puke a little bit, though. My boy had Mahomes and Josh Allen on this team at one point.
Wow. Actually, I think I'm playing Hurts against Detroit instead
Well,
of Stafford
okay.
against Buffalo.
Maybe there's some tweaks
Maybe week
week
one,
to week.
but he's got those options there.
Yeah.
Here he's got Ronald Jones as a sneaky sleeper
Oh yeah.
that he can plug and play.
You'll play Ronald Jones over Chase Claypool almost every week.
But other than and Zach Ertz, he's got there. So he's got a couple other options to plug and play in
I would
his
actually
flex
move-
positions.
I'd move Chase to cover Godwin and then move Rojo up to.
Well, he's got that option right
I mean,
now.
yeah,
especially with
Godwin's-
Godwin missing the start of the
Godwin's
season.
not going to
most
play
likely.
till second half.
So he's
running backs. Rojo's good. Mostert might get a little bit of run in Miami.
now long term, not a lot of picks to work with. So he is
it's
all now.
It's all in. Go get it.
But where are we giving him a score here, SP?
He's got to be at least a 9. To be
Yeah.
honest, he's definitely
That
front
his
runner
whole starting squad is
Yeah.
just
Best team
money.
we've seen so far
Oh.
by a
by a
stretch.
lot, by a lot. Yeah.
Wild card still got some picks though. Like future
Long term wild card might have a
So,
better outlook.
today, Cody's team absolutely like higher.
Sure.
Long term wild card's got a lot to work
Yes,
with.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. But you like Cody's chances to three-peat is what you're saying.
I
Looking good.
I think Cody's he's definitely in the top 3 right now.
Inside track right now.
Yeah.
Next up is Agrikush. I love this guy. He is the bane of my existence when we first got into the league. The dude likes to stir the pot for sure. But since then, I'd like to think we built
Is he
a nice
the
rapport.
Samuel of the league?
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
Okay.
But I'd like to think we built a nice rapport since then, and we've squashed whatever beefs we might have had. Love chopping it up with him. Knowledgeable. Dude is knowledgeable. Now, before you even look at his team, I want you guys to scroll down and look at his picks. This dude went scorched earth and grab what he's got right now pick-wise.
Sometimes that works.
Now, look what he's got pick-wise, right?
That's really good.
He has 5
It's
good
absurd, right?
picks, and he has a
Now
decent
go back
team.
and look at his team, and you're like, wait, how the hell did that happen?
He's got
Yeah.
3 2023s.
Yep.
3 2024s.
Yep.
And then 2 2025s.
And some of those firsts he has most likely are going to be first to third.
And he's still got Zach Wilson on his taxi squad, which I think will actually be a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, now look at his team and tell me this guy isn't just
He's set for the future, but I really need to know why this guy has 3 defenses. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
he's just carrying him now because there's nothing else to hold
Which
on to.
again,
to be perfectly
which is
honest
why there
with you.
should be no defenses.
That's fine.
There just shouldn't. Like I did see a team earlier, they only had 1 defense. I'm like, so the week that their defense is on the bye, you just don't have a defense. which-
That's why he has 3 defenses. Because he's
He's got
basically
4.
holding I'm saying on his bench. He's holding people hostage who are going to suffer on those bye
Which
weeks.
I don't think anybody should have to trade to get a damn defense. There's only 32 of them. It's not like wide
Again,
receivers and
roster
running backs
construction strategy. You play how you want to play, Pinky. It's part of the league.
and kickers and defenses are retarded in dynasty. Period. The
Now,
one dynasty league I play in that has them, I'm still pissed off about it. And it's a free league.
I am scared about what happens with this team going forward. Now,
If they-
Cody might win 3 in a row. This team is set up with the pieces already in place. If he drafts properly, he could easily repeat that, if not more.
So his running backs are really weak.
Yeah.
Really weak.
Well, he's only got Antonio Gibson.
Pretty much.
That's all he's got right now.
So in the future, he needs to spend a lot of capital on
Well,
running
he's
backs.
banking on having you see the jockey type right there as his 2023 first, his 2024 first. You see those? And we'll see jockey type's team in a second. He's banking on those being first overalls both years in a row.
because his team's hot
Which
garbage, huh?
which means he's looking at Bijan Robinson and Henderson out of Ohio State.
Mm.
Right. So that's kind of what he's banked this on. So he's got a strategy. That's kind of what he's banking it on. So if that works out for him, he's golden. If it doesn't, he will have to finagle a little more to make some
Agrikush,
moves.
go ahead and trade Matt Ryan for a pick if you can get one, or a player like a running back, because Matt Ryan's going to do you no good this year. You can just play Zach Wilson. Like there's no reason to hold Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan's going to have a great year because he's behind a good old line.
His wide receiver core, though, right now, he doesn't really have to spend any capital on wide receivers going
No,
forward.
not at all. Christian
I mean,
Watson,
CDT, Deontay Johnson, Elijah Moore.
they're all young. Yeah, great job there. Great job there.
And then obviously Christian Watson sitting on his taxi.
I mean, I don't think that's a playoff team right now,
no,
but-
probably not.
but in the future, that dude's going to do really well.
Now, if I remember correctly, I shouldn't say that because I do believe 8 teams make the playoffs in this league, kind of like yours.
8 in a dynasty?
Yeah, I think
No, you
so.
need to punish the horrible teams.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to live with those mistakes forever.
So, but he's building obviously around Mahomes and his wide receivers is what he's banking on right now. So, see how it works out for him. Obviously, he's going to have to draft properly with all those picks. He's got more draft capital than wild card, So there's going to be some interesting
He's
things.
got
that
a
he
lot
has.
of draft capital, which he could, trade one of those first in 2023 and 2024 and get some players. Like he's
got
can make
options.
some moves.
There's no doubt about that. But this could be the team that dominates in the future for quite a few years if he plays these cards correctly. All right, next up we got Moo.
And he's a Broncos fan, right?
Why do you say that?
Because he's got
A
4
ton of
Broncos in
Broncos?
his starting lineup.
I honestly have no idea if he is or not, but yeah, he's got a lot of Broncos, doesn't he?
previous to this year, probably not the best thing, but this year's going to be good.
Going back real quick, where do you have Agrikush, SP?
I have him at. Wait, that's not Team Agrikush, right? That's Tankers.
No, Tankers is me.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? Okay.
He's team Michael Jackson.
How are you
Oh, okay,
creating
gotcha.
these ratings?
I'm just giving an average off positions, 1 out of 10 ratings. So I got his team set up at about a 7, but he has pretty good future potential as well.
Nice.
So I'd probably say his starting team's a 6 with starting potential, like pushing it up, but he's not going to be very good this year.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
But I
Well,
mean, that only
because of how-
benefits, his strategy, because if he's not very good, his own pick then becomes more valuable as
Correct.
well. So
Correct.
And then Cody was talking about that trade for Cup. Did I see that correctly?
you did.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
Can you read it
yeah,
to me?
It's not the trades that have gone down in this league. There's a couple people, Team Agrikush, Michael Jackson, Mahomes being one of them who's benefited from stupidity. There's no other way to say it. And he's taken advantage of it. Cody has also been able to take advantage of it on a couple occasions. I somehow cannot get people to bite on that stupidity for some reason.
So if I'm seeing this correctly, was it Raheem Mostert for
Yes.
Cooper Cup and a 3rd round?
Man, that's like raping.
No,
the
that's
retarded
what's even
kid.
crazier is Cody got the 3rd.
Yeah,
He got
yeah,
Cup
that's what
and
I'm
a
saying.
3rd
Yeah,
for
he got
Raheem
Cup and a 3rd
Mostert.
for like at some point this should just be like, nah, you ain't doing that. You know what I mean? Like I would have just you should have to do a 2-way a 2-form verification.
How
for a
long
trade
ago
like
was this though?
that.
Because
It
I
was
got Cup, I
2020.
got Cup from Zach in a
July
dynasty league.
2027.
Yeah.
July of 2020. July of 2020. He got Cup and a 3rd for Mostert.
Mostert was hot then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
If you were desperate for running backs, I could see that. I mean, I got
the guy who traded Mostert thought he was just coming off that Super Bowl
mean-
run. He was going to be with 49ers. He was going to be healthy.
what did I get Cup from Zach for? Because I got Cup for a pretty good deal. But it was before he blew up.
Sure. He was the
So-
number 2 back then. Cody took a chance and it paid off for him in spades.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, for sure, because he was one of the top point getters last year. He was amazing. Oh,
I think Cody says, and then he got Mostert back off waivers.
That did happen.
Uh,
That did happen.
and of course, Mostert doesn't really have any value now.
yeah.
Let's go to Moo. How you guys feeling about Moo? The Bronco team, as Pinky like to call it.
Not a bad team. And the thing that I really like about it is it's a pretty young team on some of these positions. He's definitely has some years on him, and depth is okay. I don't think it's terrible. It's
He's
definitely
also got 2 firsts next year.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say yeah. I mean he has 4 picks in total, so that's pretty nice.
I mean,
Taxi squads.
you
Okay.
use a pick on a quarterback next year.
He's light at running back. There's no depth behind the 2 starters that he's got sitting there. He's reliant on some second, third string wide receivers in Patrick and
Oh,
Watkins.
I think his depth is awful, actually.
all around. You're saying?
Oh yeah, his depth is bad.
I mean, I could see that.
Like
yeah,
they're guys.
there's
you-
no real
like,
wide receiver
you-
depth there either.
You throw in because that's all you got, but they're not. You're not going to get a whole lot from it. His starting lineup's not horrible.
Where are you putting him, Pinky? Middle of the pack, could go either way, or you got him on one tier or the other. I mean, we know Russ is going to blow up. We know how I feel about ETN, so that
5
means
or
he's probably
6.
done for. But ETN's going to blow up. Javonte's going to blow up. You got him right in the middle.
Yeah, it's right in the middle. I'm biased because I'm a Broncos
Sutton's
guy.
going to blow up. No, I
But
mean that's.
I
legit.
think Sutton's going to get 10 touchdowns. I think Javonte is going to be great. He is still going to share the load with Melvin. ETN has potential to do really well with a better offense. Like they're going to run the ball and throw the ball quite a bit. They're going to do a lot of RPO in Peterson's offense, so that's great. Russell's going to have a 4,030 touchdown year. AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, those guys are going to be awesome. But
I
after
think Hayden
that,
Hurst actually has a solid middle of the pack tight end year with Burrow. He's not going to be great, but
I
he's
mean,
not going to be a bum.
I actually think Uzma is probably going to be better than Hurst, but
Uzma plays with the Jets, but
they don't have a whole lot else to throw to. So
Coughlin's going to be the starter over.
I don't like
Uzma.
Conklin at all. But Patrick Watkins, I don't know. Watkins in Green Bay, So
Sammy stays healthy with Rodgers. It's a money, but
For
when
the
has Sammy ever stayed healthy?
for the 6 games, Sammy will have like 4 or 5 good games. The rest will be garbage.
You're probably right.
So
So you got him right at 6, basically, right in that ballpark.
yeah, I hate this guy's bench.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's horrible. Who's on the taxi?
Nobody.
Yeah, his taxi sucks. 2 first rounds, that's good, but yeah, yeah.
Now, the 2 firsts he has next year, based on what you guys have said, are from 2 teams that should not be very good. So he's got some potential to add some pieces.
He's just not going to do much of all this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Dak Street Boys. My man, Willie P. Willie's a badass. Everybody loves Willie.
It's a good looking team.
Willie's a big Colts fan. Willie is trying to even move some picks right now to go all in right now.
He doesn't really have a whole lot of picks left.
Well, he's trying to move those other 2 firsts he has. He's looking to try and go all in right now and ruin Cody's run at a 3-peat.
Oh,
He has potential to do so.
He
that's
has
for
flat
sure.
out come out and
Ooh.
said it in the league chat. Like
So,
he is more than willing to move them to win now.
His depth is awful. His starting lineup is so good.
Well, keep in mind he's got Hopkins sitting on IR too.
I see Hopkins, but
Yeah.
the rest of his depth is garbage. But I mean, Marlon Mack for a little while in Houston is going to be okay. But his starting lineup is
that's clean.
so good.
Now,
Besides
here's where he's
Galladay,
done himself some favors too. Mixon goes down. He has Chris Evans, which I think produces really well if Mixon goes down. So he's backed himself
P.
up in
Ryan.
a couple
it'll
areas.
be P. Ryan.
No, it won't.
It'll be P. Ryan.
It won't.
It was P. Ryan
absolutely
last
won't.
year. It'll be P. Ryan.
It'll be Evans. And I'm telling you right now, it'll be Evans. And it's
It'll be
going to be
P. Ryan.
Evans. No,
It'll
P.
be
Ryan's done. P. Ryan's done. Evans will be the
Samaje
number
is going
2.
to be the guy.
No, it won't.
But
Evans has
Mixon's not
talent.
going down, so it's fine.
Evans has talent. P. Ryan does not. I don't know why you hang on to these duds, just like you did with Giovanni Bernard. I told you Rex Burkhead was the better player, and you still wanted to hang on to Giovanni. That's been proven out over time.
All I know is Giovanni won Sam a championship. I saw it happen. So
Sam got lucky.
He did.
Let's not say
He
that
got really
Giovanni
lucky.
is some kind of great
His-
player to hang on to.
his 3 running backs in the championship game were like horrible.
Chris Evans will be the number 2. That's the guy you want backing up Mixon. If anybody's paying attention, just trust me. on
I
this one.
disagree, but again, whatever. His starting lineup is fantastic.
It is good.
Fantastic. I mean, Kittle, if healthy, he's got Swift. Tyler Boyd is definitely serviceable. Woods is going to be a good option. Keenan Allen. I'm not a fan of Galladay, so
I think a lot of Giants are going to have a bounce back year with Dabo as the head coach.
I mean, hopefully. I mean, technically,
It's not going to be worse.
Galladay's only in there because Hopkins is on IR
Right
or
now.
suspended right now. So once he moves that in, the rest of his team's not great, but that starting lineup is so good.
Where
Where do
you-
you rank that,
Yeah.
Aaron?
Oh man, his
Wait, go back. What'd you have Moo at? Sorry, I skipped that.
Moo, I had him at a 7.5 overall.
So he's
Really?
right in there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that dude's bottom 6 team. Like,
What?
yeah, Moose team's
Well,
not good.
7.5 would be about bottom 6 based on some of these other rankings.
Yeah, I mean, we have a 7.6, 8.25.
Moose team's pretty bad.
8.5, Got a 9. I was giving him a little bit.
Willie
of credit.
P,
Where
good
you
job,
got Willie
buddy.
P at?
Good job, Willie P.
Willie P. Oh yeah, I got him. He's right up there, man. I mean, he is like probably right at that 8.5 as well too.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
neck and neck with Tap. That's a clean team, man.
There you go, Willie.
And
Go make one of those ridiculous trades that this league's known for and rob somebody, and you're right there,
Yeah.
spoiling Cody's dreams.
Beat that blind kid, man.
And,
You can do it.
And if I'm hearing Caleb correctly, Evans' career should come to an end this season. So that's unfortunate. Sorry, Chris. It's his
Before it
fault.
even started, poor
Yep.
guy.
Yeah, well, that's what happens.
All right, next up we got Clisrawl.
Yeah, I was looking at this team already. Man, does he have some sweet wide receivers.
Oh, his wide receivers
Oh.
core is
Just beautiful.
he's got like 3 in the top 10,
Yeah.
Maybe even
And
4.
he has IU.
maybe 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and he has IU.
I don't
chilling.
put Metcalf there just because of the quarterback situation,
Sure,
but the rest of the
sure.
guys are
And he's
I
got a
tell you-
sneaky Rondell Moore on his bench.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got Elijah Mitchell.
Well, he's got to play that at his second.
He's
running
got
back
Ayuk.
spot. He doesn't have any other running backs though. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
AJ Dillon, but that's going to
Well,
be splitting time this year with Jones.
If
so-
Montgomery gets hurt, he's got Khalil Herbert, and Khalil Herbert did have some pretty good games. So
There's some potential here. I think Gerald Everett actually has a pretty big year, so that's a flex consideration.
Yeah, the only thing that's killing him is, man, just no talent with running backs.
No talent at all.
I don't believe in
Can
Miles
you-
Sanders.
I mean, can you move like Metcalf or I'd move Metcalf
I would
if you
if
could.
you can go get a running back with what you have at wide receiver. That would be my move as well.
I'll tell you this: by week 5, he could be trading Trubisky for some actual firepower because I think Trubisky is going to go off.
I've
early.
tried to snatch Trubisky from him a couple different times at a discount, and he won't move him. So
Yeah, well, that's smart. Trubisky's going to put up numbers. He's going to be a solid QB this year.
yeah, but according to your guys' theory, Trubisky's going to be injured and out of the league by week 3.
What?
Based on how I feel about him.
Oh,
yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
That's true. And actually, no, he spent how many years with the Bears? This guy's immune to defeat. All right,
I like that. Finally, somebody
Yeah.
that I love will get a show out.
No, he suffered enough. All right,
No,
this
man.
Thank God.
He's gonna roll out for 6 weeks and they're
he
gonna play
suffered
Pickett.
enough.
No, they're not, because Trubisky's gonna ball out.
They're gonna-
SP,
they're gonna play
chinky
Pickett.
chinky, my buddy, because you know you and me are on that bandwagon.
Absolutely,
We've been on it for a minute.
truth.
So where are you looking here? Solid starting lineup, wide receiver heavy. Obviously has a quarterback to boot, but not a lot of depth. So where you guys got him sitting? He's got his picks. I mean, he's got some picks. to move
I
forward
would
with.
move Metcalf or move one of the picks for a running back. He needs a running back.
Okay.
But if he can get a running back, this team is definitely in the top 5.
Not a running back. He needs a couple because Miles Sanders isn't worth anything in my opinion. So,
Miles Sanders is definitely very risky.
yeah. I honestly have to put him at like a 7.25 just because of his running back situation, but he cleans that up and that bumps him up easy to like an 8.5 in my opinion.
I mean, I
Puts
think
him right in the mix, is what you're saying.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
Elijah Mitchell's going to be good this year.
Yeah.
So I think at least he's got that. But yeah, Miles Sanders is tough to rely on.
So he needs to move either a Metcalf or a pick for a starting solid running back.
needs a
and you
running
think
back.
He's right in the race.
Yep. I
Okay.
think so.
Okay, I could agree with that. I like where you guys' heads at there. All right, this is by all accounts the worst team in the league.
Absolutely, this is a dumpster fire.
This guy is notorious for making moves that boggle everybody's mind. He's a lot of fun to chat with, but when it comes to
Well,
roster
who isn't
construction,
when they're always drunk or high? So.
Is this guy 8?
he's 30, I believe, or
This-
right in
this-
that ballpark.
This is
SP, he probably is always drunk or high, and just doesn't his reasoning never matches up with
Hey.
the moves and the actual talent.
I know I've got his best
usually what
player.
happens.
I've already pinpointed his best player on his team.
Allen Robinson or Cole Kmet.
Evan McPherson.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. It's
Hey, that kid's
Allen
pretty fire,
Robinson is
though.
actually his best player, and you could maybe make an argument for Cooks too.
Oh, this is bad.
This is a really bad team, like really bad.
Cody says, I love trading with him. The problem is, Cody, there is nothing left to take from this person.
no, everybody's already allowed him to
Yeah.
ruin himself, and that's the thing. He's based on what you guys are saying, he has ruined himself, not had people take advantage of him.
I will say though, like at some point in a league, when you have a player this bad, it doesn't make it fun.
Right. He's there. He's just a bye week.
You know what?
Um,
I kind
know-
of hear what you're saying, but the man, I will give him credit. He does his own research. He has his own viewpoints, and he trades based on that. And this is where it's gotten him.
Obviously, those are horrible articles he's reading or people he's listening to. Like, I would relegate this guy to out of your league.
Now, I have been trying to trade him Damian Harris for a first. Somehow, with all the other moves he's made, he no longer is willing to even think about that offer.
I mean, this team is. I mean,
Well, what else does he have?
so I will
Like,
say,
I'm surprised this guy's not trading his first for seconds.
in my lifetime, in my lifetime, I've only seen one team worse than this,
Oh boy.
and that was an orphan team that was complete and utter garbage.
Oh, yeah.
That our buddy Mark took over.
Yep.
And I was just like, Mark, you're willing to pay $50 to take over this team?
You should have gave him a
Like,
discount. That's
this
kind of
team
dirty.
is like, I mean, it's worse than this, and this is really bad. And he's built it back up. Like it's a decent team now, but he spent like 2 or 3 years like building this team up. Kudos to Mark for doing that. But yeah, this like
Well, this was not an orphan team. Now, this guy did win the league, so he's got a championship under his belt.
in
So he's always got
1995?
that. Nope.
What?
The 3 years ago, right before Cody won his back-to-backs.
Did he trade his whole team? Because I don't see anything on here that would win a team.
Well, he was the 6th seed, I believe, if I remember correctly. It was right before Zach and I came in the league. Right before Zach and I took over the orphan team, he won that previous year.
Who did he trade? Because like the only guy on this team that
Look,
would
I'll
make
leave you guys as co-managers for a couple weeks if you want me to, and you can go back through and look at this guy's
We're
history
gonna-
and just see what's
You
happening.
know what this is?
Because it's mind-blowing.
You know what this would be? This is legitimately doing an autopsy. Like, how did this thing die? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what you're gonna have to. It's fun.
I mean-
It's fun. I've done.
I mean, Michael
It's-
Thomas.
it's
3
mind-boggling.
years ago was like the top wide
He
receiver.
believes Michael Thomas is going to have a big year this year.
He will not.
He will not listen to me when I tell him his best years are many years behind him.
yeah.
He's taken a lot of hits from the way that he plays, and he's like Michael.
He
He's like
also doesn't have Drew Brees.
he's like
Right.
Demarius Thomas and Des Bryant. Once
No,
they took enough
no.
hits,
Those two were
those
extremely
buddies.
athletic. Michael Thomas has never been athletic.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true. I'm
He
just saying those bigger wide receivers that box guys out,
Sure.
they take a lot of hits and their body wears down.
The only reason Michael Thomas was ever Michael Thomas is because he had Drew Brees, the most accurate quarterback in NFL history.
True. I mean,
And
okay,
Michael
don't-
Thomas has great hands.
I was just gonna say, don't take that away from him because Thomas does have
Like,
great hands.
He's got arguably the best hands in the league.
Right.
This guy has Devin.
But when you have now
Duvernay.
Jameis Winston or whoever else throwing you the ball, and they're not going to fit it into the smallest window capable, you're not going to be a top 30 receiver.
This
Probably.
guy has Devin, Duvernay, and Jacoby Myers in his starting lineup.
Yes, he does. He's also a big Patriots fan.
This is mind blowing. Mind blowing. This guy's team will be number 1 pick, without a doubt.
And
Yeah,
that's what
um,
Agra has been banking on, and that's why I told you he's looking at a Bijan Robinson and a Henderson out of Ohio State.
I would
2
say
years in a row.
I'd say there's at least 3 teams that have better benches than this guy has starters.
That's
rough.
probably true.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
What would you give him, SP?
Well,
3.
Listen, if I gave that other guy a 5, this dude's easily sitting at like a 3, 3.5. Yeah. this is
What
bad.
was Clisserall? Sorry, go back and give me Clisserall's as well.
What names are you using?
God, I should almost charge you for making me look at something that bad. Like that hurt my
The
eyes.
one right above the jockey types team, the last team, the one right above that, Clisserall.
Oh, Clisserall. Okay, gotcha.
Go back.
Um,
I don't think we got a score on him.
Yeah. No, I had given him a 7.5.
Okay.
I said if he fixed his running back
That's right. That's
situation,
right. I apologize. Yep.
it'd bump him
And
up.
you got jockey at what, like a 3? You just said.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, jockey. Sorry, I enjoy speaking with you, buddy. But
If
the prying eyes who have been objective. Look, and I'll say it again, guys, for everybody that's going to go back and listen to this from the league. I did not give them any information beforehand.
Nope.
I did not tell them anything about the league beforehand.
Nope.
And I did not give them any rosters to look at until like 15 minutes before we started the show because I wanted them to see this as objectively firsthand initial reactions as possible. Correct,
Truth.
guys,
Yeah.
boys?
That is correct.
and I won't say I'm like an expert in fantasy,
Mm-mm.
but I've been playing long enough that when I first started playing, we were calculating scores manually from the newspaper. Long time.
Yeah.
So I've been around the block. That has to be one of the worst teams I've ever seen.
That's pretty bad. Well, this doesn't look like sentient picks. You know what I mean? Like this looks like you pulled him out of a hat.
Real tough
Yeah.
to swallow.
He
and
does
did
have-
it to himself. That's the crazy part. So, like I said, I'll let you guys stick in as co-managers for another week, and when we come back next week, you guys can kind of give me your secondhand opinions after you've looked at everything that's happened with him. How's that sound?
Hey, he still has 5 picks though.
He
So,
does.
yeah.
He's managed to rebuild his picks because he was at 0 basically. So he's managed to rebuild the picks back up a little bit. So he has the ability to get competitive again.
I'm wondering what he traded for because good God.
Go look. It'll be a fun little deep dive for the two of you.
No, it might make me sad.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe for him. by
Final
the time we're
team.
done.
Final team. Go look at Zach and I's, the Tankers.
All right.
Let's see what you boys think. I'm just going to shut up and listen because we already know how I feel about these guys. So you guys have at. Now keep in mind, I will say, heads up. When Zach and I took this team over as an orphan, we did have Lamar Jackson. We moved him with a specific idea that he's not a high volume completion quarterback. And the way the scoring of this league was, we needed to move off of him. We moved off of him right after Carson was coming back off of one of his best seasons. So I'll say that. We did move Keenan Allen because we were trying to get younger. And there was somebody else we moved, and I can't remember off the top of my head now. So keep those kind of things in mind. This was the orphan team we took over. This is where we're at after 2 years.
It's not good yet. Your 3 backup quarterbacks are just really bad.
I would not say that. I think Mariota actually has a lot of potential.
You and your Mariota. Look, he's going to play half a season, and then Ritter's going to play. That's just how it's going to happen.
It's not.
Dude.
It's just Ritter's
He's
not
gonna
that
play.
good, Pinky. He's just not. And I said I'd shut up. I actually think Trevor Lawrence's money, and I think Daniel Jones, again, Dabo is going to have a huge effect on him, just like he did for Josh Allen.
I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a decent season. I don't think he's going to ball out, but he's going to have a much better season than he did last year.
I think Lawrence will have a good year, but not like a 70 a game year. I don't think that's going to happen. Najee's good. Montgomery's really good. Judy, Devontae, Pittman will have good weeks. I don't know if they're consistent.
We also had Henry Ruggs on this team, unfortunately.
Yeah, couldn't trade that guy, unfortunately.
Man.
Framuth should be okay. Dobbins, if gets back healthy, should be fine. Edmonds is a question mark. You're going to play Harris over Edmonds most of the time.
I think Zach and I both disagree with you there. I think Edmonds has huge breakout potential this year.
With like the 3 other running backs that are there, I just don't think
He's
so.
going to be the guy. That's why they went and got him. Their other running backs are trash.
He's just not that guy. He's not that every, like, if you're not going to give him the ball every down, like that's just not who he is.
But keep in mind, when he played with Arizona, because we're saying Miami's going to have a killer offense this year, right? We're all pretty much on that boat.
I am, but they're going to be like the 49ers. Like all those running backs are going to play, and it's going to be like who's got the hot hand this week.
Okay, so if Edmonds has the hot hand more than not, just like Elijah Mitchell did when he was healthy, what kind of points is he going to put up? And look at the points he put up when he was the starter in Arizona. The games that he had that opportunity to, look at what he did.
If he was that good, I don't think he'd be in Miami. I just don't. He'd still be in Arizona.
That's fair. All right.
So again,
Arizona also didn't know how to run the ball.
as your
though.
4th or 5th running back, is that bad? No. I'm just saying I'd probably be like Harris was a touchdown machine and pretty consistent last year.
Yeah, had some big games. Yeah, I'd say after looking at everything, I probably have your team right at a 7. So
It's a very big boom or bust potential right
Yeah.
now is really what we're banking
You just
on.
don't have anybody like most of your players. There's nobody dominant.
right, they're all
There's not like that one guy. Like I think you have a lot of guys that are going to average fairly well for you. Just know like
We are banking on Judy, Devontae, and Pittman all breaking out. I will say that all becoming wide receiver 1-ish numbers, which their potential said they were going to be. So that's what we were banking
I
on.
mean, I like Devontae Smith a lot more before they got AJ Brown.
I tell you what. Well, Pittman with Matt Ryan.
Matt
Should be
Ryan,
good.
Look,
Should be good.
honestly, the offseason treated us really well.
Yeah.
Judy got Russell Wilson. Devontae Smith got AJ Brown to take the double teams off of him, and Pittman got Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
So the offseason was very good to our wide receivers. Najee, Montgomery, J.K. Dobbins, I think are all top 10 running backs this year.
I think
Potential, sure.
your team does have a lot of potential.
But that's the kicker. We're sitting at boomer bust is what
yeah,
we're
you're
looking
gonna know
at.
exactly where you're at by week 6.
Yeah, I mean, we could be looking at competing at the end of the season as a dark horse, or we could be looking at getting one of the top
I
three
mean,
picks.
I think you're in that 6, 7, 8 range.
And you got 4 picks coming up too, so that's not terrible. So listen, if you could go out there, ball out, show a lot of potential with your team, and have 4 picks afterward, I think you're in a good spot for next season. But right now, I think
we got James Cook on the bench. We got Jamison Williams on the bench.
I think
We are also the youngest team in the league.
Yeah, I think your best bet is for Mariota and Wentz to ball out, and hopefully you can trade him for something down the road. But I don't know why Daniel Jones is even on your roster, though, dude.
Right.
He was the original trade. We got him, and let me go look. That was part of the Lamar Jackson trade originally. So we got Jones in a first for Jackson in a second. And that first turned into either Judy or Ruggs. Now, keep in mind the QB scoring when we first came into the league being what it was. We didn't think Lamar Jackson had as much potential as Daniel Jones for completions.
That was the worst sentence I've ever heard in my life.
It was tough. It didn't quite turn
I mean,
out. But I still personally am very high on Daniel Jones with Dabo. I really am. I think Dabo turns that whole
Brian Daboll?
Daboll. I call him Dabo.
Okay.
I
I
think
don't
he
like
turns
that
out.
because there's Dabo Sweeney, who's Clemson coach.
Well, we're
so
talking about
I know.
pro versus college. So
I couldn't.
I think he can help Daniel Jones become what they thought he would be based on what he's done for Josh Allen.
I could.
Now, granted, we made that trade before that happened, so we've kind of got lucky here.
Right. Yeah. So you can't even pretend there.
Well, I'm saying that's why he's still on the roster.
yeah.
I
It's
think
because of that scenario.
Daniel Jones will have a decent year, but he'll never be that quarterback.
Decent in comparison to what he has been, maybe. But I couldn't be high on Daniel Jones if the guy was made out of cocaine. So
Ooh, look at that. God, there's some bad teams
I
here.
would move him to running back before I would as a quarterback, to be honest.
Fair. So, you're listening to the league. Look, I told you, my boys are going to be honest, brutal, and objective eyes. So
Daniel Jones is great outside the 10.
don't sit here when you boys listen to this and say that they're doing me any favors and they
Yeah.
were being untrustworthy with the rest of their evaluations.
I mean, Wild Card and Beast Chewy should be 1-2.
Yeah.
I think Willie is right there with them. I think you could really those three.
And a running back and Cliz Rawl or whatever could be. Change your team name. That's a horrible team name. But
It's coming from Elway Love 7.
hey, Elway Love 7 says something. Okay. And that's just my profile name. That's not my team name.
Our name is literally Tankers because Agra accused us of tanking on purpose.
Absolutely. In a dynasty league? Absolutely.
Well, it's a free league, so there's rules about you tank on purpose. You are going to lose some picks because it's a free league, not a paid league.
Screw that. If it's a free league, you can tank on purpose because there's nothing at stake and get your first round pick. That's the whole point.
We're trying to keep the league competitive. Jockey's not doing a lot of favors to anybody in doing.
Yeah, you're not keeping it competitive if you got Jockey in the league.
You can't tank because then they're just going to be accused of being racist, and then you're going to have to get.
I mean, Jockey's tanking.
So we didn't tank on purpose. There were some miscommunications. Zach and I forgot to put some guys in. It looked bad. I will say that flat out. It looked bad. Wasn't necessarily what we meant to. We also made some questionable roster starting decisions, thinking guys were going to blow up based on matchups, and it didn't look good either. But we didn't do it on purpose. But because I got so much heat, the name was changed to the Tankers for that reason.
Listen, there's a couple of teams in this
How are there
league.
still defenses available? That's dumb.
Well, they're not good defenses.
I mean, yeah, but you just carry them for like 5 years until they're good, like because you can't. Because once you have them, like you can't do anything with them.
I do believe, if I remember correctly, let me go back.
I mean, Green Bay's on there. Green Bay's defense is actually pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, there's some questionable decisions being made by some teams.
There's 3 or 4 teams that I say are the obvious picks for winning, but the thing with football, man, is you are always one turnover and one injury away from your career.
Hey,
So,
weird shit happens.
absolutely. Yep. So you just never know. And you just never know the people who pop off, man.
I can pretty much guarantee.
So, like I told you guys before, Zach and I went boomer bust, and we are the youngest team in the league.
I would pretty much guarantee I'd put $1,000 on it that Jockey will not win a championship this year.
I mean, I think that'd be a really. That's 100%.
That's a pretty
odds.
The odds on that are probably not great because people know he's going to lose.
Yeah. So there you go. Little fun with fantasy. If you guys, when you listen to this, if you have, any questions, you want us to review something again, talk about it, hit me up. Let me know. We love talking fantasy. We love debating players and situations. This wasn't a deep dive, but it was a pretty good overview, I think, of where everybody's at and how some objective eyes feel about you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. And on that note, final thoughts for the week that is.
Hey, do your best not to get raped in that league, okay? It's okay to say no.
Oh, man. Yeah. There's a few people who should be changing the name to #MeToo, man. This is bad.
Solid. Well, on that note, like we always say, spend that time with your loved ones.
I'm
let them know how you
traumatized.
feel. Hang out, quality time. We're out.